Jenny Edwards wrote the book Inviting Students to Learn 100 Tips for Talking Effectively with Your Students. In this book, she stresses the importance of having positive beliefs about your students and understanding the impact you have on each child in your classroom. The Commission of the Whole Child emphasizes the importance of educators focusing on the whole child in order to assist all children to develop all their gifts and realize their full potential. We should strive to treat each person as capable, valuable individuals who can take responsibility of their own selves. We as educators need to make sure we let our students know we value them. I believe this is a strong foundation for teachers to build their belief systems on. Our future students will come to our classrooms with a thirst, desire, innate need to learn and build on their strengths. It will be our duty to help them find those strengths and teach them how to be lifelong learners so they can one day reach any goal they have set for themselves. It is so important for teachers to value each child and have faith in them. We need to present a positive attitude towards each person we meet. We need to smile more often and ask ourselves key questions about the ways we can impact our students' lives. The climate of our classroom will have a profound impact on learning. We need to understand where our students are coming from because their background and culture will affect how they behave and learn. We need to monitor our beliefs, behaviors, and language so that the effect we have on our students will be a positive one. Everything we say or do will have an impact on our students. It is a vital that we establish a rapport with our students. In order to create that relationship, our students need to feel that we value them. If they feel loved and appreciated, it will reflect in every effort they put forth in their classroom. We need to keep our thoughts positive and keep a smile on our face. Our tone of voice, posture, gesture all mimic how we think and feel. If we stay optimistic and find the good in everyone and every situation, our entire body will reflect it. Children are very sensitive to our thoughts, feelings, emotions of others. If they sense you are sad, angry, or frustrated, they will shut down. If they feel sense of love, acceptance, and hope you feel for them, they will work hard to live up to your high expectations that you have for them. That is the key to teaching the whole child. Managing the classroom is another key to successful teaching. Teachers need to realize their own limitations as well as the limitations of their students. Sometimes we all get stressed out. When that happens, it is good to take a break. We should teach our students that occasionally we should stop, stand up, stretch out, take a deep, relaxing breath, and let all the stress go. When conflict arises, we need to ask key questions such as, what triggered the behavior? How can we change the response? What would be a better choice? Or more important, how can you as a teacher prevent it from happening again? Mahatma Gandhi, keep your thoughts positive. Keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become your words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behaviors. Keep your behaviors positive because your behaviors become your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny.
The language children hear during their formative years has such a powerful impact on their lives. Language affects their self-esteem, their trust of others, their thinking capacities, and their positive and negative attitudes. It is good to let the children know that you truly care about them and want to watch them grow and succeed. In order to reach that goal, a teacher can use the following language tips: giving feedback to students, interacting with parents, writing positive notes, and writing report cards. It is positive to give feedback to students. We, as future educators, can make a difference in a student's life by one simple word or gesture. We can use our language to encourage our students and enhance their ability to learn. It is always good when parents join teachers in helping their child to succeed. It is important to interact with parents, whether it is during a parent-teacher conference or on a daily basis. Parents like to receive phone calls and notes, and so do the students. It is always rewarding to see a child smile or know they feel confident with what they are learning. A simple encouraging note, smile, or sticker goes a long way. When it comes to education and communication, technology is a useful resource. Teachers can incorporate technology into their lessons in many different ways, such as blogs, bulletin boards, chat rooms, text messages, emails, and PowerPoint presentations. In a classroom, blogs can be used to communicate with students and to publish their writings and observations. Bulletin boards are used to engage students in discussions. Students and teachers are able to write messages in response to their posts. You can communicate with your students through messages and emails. When replying to emails and messages to students, make sure you let them know you understand what they are saying and encourage them to think. PowerPoints are great visual resources to use when presenting information to students. Not only are they visually pleasing, but they can be fun to make. Teachers can also invite students to make their own PowerPoint as an assignment or a lesson. The language used in everyday interaction can produce altered behavior affecting their self-knowledge and self-esteem, as well as their beliefs and their willingness to work successfully towards goals. It is important to choose your language with positive intentions and pay attention to the influence you have on others. You will be amazed with how they respond.
Author Jenny Edwards stresses the importance of using positive language when teaching culturally diverse and special needs students. When teaching students with special needs, we need to use the proper language verbally and physically. We need to start with a one-step process with these students, and once we have accomplished the first step, we can move into the second step, and so on. We need to only give a few instructions at a time, such as, please pick up the pencil, then adding, please pick up the pencil and draw a straight line. We as educators need to build solid relationships with special needs students so they can trust we truly care about them and they feel comfortable with us. We must also send messages that are clear about rules and exactly what will happen if students disobey rules. When teaching a culturally diverse population, we need to make the students feel comfortable in their environment. One way of doing this is to mirror the students' language and body gestures. We should use the same tone of voice as the students and breathe when they do. We need to build a loving, supportive community for students. We all feel much safer when we are relaxed with our home and family. So as teachers, we need to mimic this as much as possible. Every student's voice should count. Many students' cultural backgrounds will shine through in the way that they act in class. We as educators need to understand cultures that make up our classrooms. We should incorporate cultural backgrounds in our teachings and involve students and let them explain their backgrounds to us so that we may learn from them. An example of learning in different cultures is that African American students are more likely to need direct directions, such as sit down here or do this activity, not would you like to sit here or which activity do you want to do. This is because, culturally speaking, African American mothers are more stern and structured on their children and don't give choices. Studies show students who feel comfortable and that their teacher understands them and their culture are more likely to do better in class and feel more positive and encouraged about school. We as educators must learn to use positive language and really get to know our students.
There are many possible purposes for using the 100 language tips that are stated in this book. One of those purposes would be to build relationships with students. Peggy Valentine stated in 1994 that in order to help the students develop some motivation, I capitalize on their strong feelings for me, and that good teaching starts with building good relationships. A recommended language tip from the text would help build relationships with students and would be step number 67. Step 67 is questions from students. The way we ask for students' questions can be either inviting or disinviting. We want to ask their questions in such a way to invite them to help them feel comfortable. We want our students to know that their questions are both wanted and valued. An example of an inviting way to ask questions would be, as you consider the material that we are discussing, what are some areas that are not clear? On the other hand, and some examples of disinviting ways to ask questions would be, who has a question or any questions? According to Force in 1998, teacher talk that is clear and explicit empowers learners, especially struggling readers and writers. When they studied how teachers interacted with their students, they found that expert teachers clearly explained to students what they wanted them to do. They created specific learning goals and communicated them clearly to the students. They also provided feedback to the students, and they helped students to reflect on what they did. Sometimes while trying to teach students something, they could be a little reluctant. One step in the book that would help the teaching would be step 24, embedding suggestions. When you want to do something that they might resist if you ask them directly, you can embed suggestions into your language so that students aren't aware that they are being asked to do something. A good example would be something like, "You will be amazed just how quickly you can learn the concepts and strategies that we will discuss." Have you ever temporarily thought that you couldn't do something or that a task was too difficult for you and said things like, "I can't do that," or "I don't want to do that"? Believe it or not, students also have objections to do things that we ask them from time to time. An instance like this could happen for many reasons. Perhaps they are wanting to preserve their self-esteem, or maybe they do not want to risk that they could fail. A tip for responding to students' objections and a way to overcome them would be step 66, pretending as though you can. In an elementary school setting, I feel that this would be highly effective. Some examples would be by asking the students, "What if you could? What would it be like if you could?" Or just pretend that you can. What are you doing? What would you do in order to complete it? Encouraging students is very important for many reasons. A student may feel stuck and need encouragement to move forward, or simply to be motivated and told that they're doing a good job. As we encourage learners, they bond with us and want to achieve even more in order to please us. Step 25 is a good step to encourage and influence your students. If you tell a student you are doing better, it may imply that they weren't doing a good job to begin with. But if you say you are doing even better, it implies that they have done well to start but are doing even better now. Some examples could be, "This assignment is even better than the last one you turned in," or "I bet you feel even better after having finished this." Sometimes conflicts arise in the classroom, but luckily there are many ways to extinguish them. One way to resolve a conflict is to use peer mediation process. Scrumpf and his colleagues' study in 1997 identified the following steps in peer mediation process. The first step is to agree to mediate. Then gather different points of what happened. Focus on interests to do so. They could discuss what they want and why, and also step into the other person's shoes. Step 4 is to create win-win options. Step 5 is to evaluate the options to see if the option is fair and to see if it can be done. Then lastly, step 6 is to create an argument, a specific plan of what each person has to do to resolve the problem and to keep it from happening.
Author Jenny Edwards adequately relays the positive messages through emotional, physical, and verbal teaching. She explains that her strategies cannot be mastered overnight, but it is a gradual process. Through reading Inviting Students to Learn, we have found that this book would be of great use to just about anyone. This book especially would benefit those in the educational field, an instructor, or even just someone that works with youth.